Nerd Soul.
Oh yeah, late ill kid app OneYoungsta holding it down, bringing that street geek and nerd soul. So like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and let's go with another episode of On Screen. We are doing our thing, talking about Loki. We got to catch up, y'all. Got to catch up. Got to catch up. Got to do what we got to do. See what's going on. Um, there's a couple things that I have to say about Marvel in general because Marvel has been, you know, they've been having a couple hurdles, a couple speed bumps, if you will. As I watch this episode, the most recent episode, which is episode 4 of season 2, as I watch this, the only thing that I can do is wish that the other shows that Marvel put out in phase 4 had as much time as it seems that this show has had, because I have no idea. And when I say time, I encompass all things. So when I say time, I mean time, care, attention to detail, that type of stuff. So when I watch this show, as I've watched, along week by week, to me, I get the impression that Loki is a show that they want to make sure they get right. They're focusing on the details. They're making sure that the interpersonal relationships and the chemistry seems natural, and it comes off where the characters are believable and relatable in a way where other shows in phase 4, and not every single show, because I did like some shows in phase 4, but shows in phase 4 and even in phase 5 haven't seemed to do it. It seems like the Loki show is the favorite son of Marvel Studios, and the other kids are like redheaded stepchildren that they never wanted. You know what I'm saying? They got them, but they're like, yeah. They're my kids through marriage. So that's something that I have noticed, and it gives me hope because I look at this show and I'm like, yeah, they're doing fine. They're doing great. They're doing an awesome job. I like Loki. I like Sylvie. I like OB Casey. X5 that makes sense. B15, she makes sense. The stuff with General Docs is really good. And then I look at other shows. I mean, like Secret Invasion, or other shows that I promised other people that I would not talk about anymore. I'm not going to beat that dead horse. But there's other shows that I'm like, I feel you guys created just something to be on streaming. You didn't really put your foot in it like you could. But I wrap that around to say, this isn't to beat up on Marvel. This is to say, yo, you see what you're doing here? Do that and everything else. The attention to detail, the care, the focusing in on the chemistry and the relationships, and the drama and the suspense, and the literal stakes between one another on these with these characters. Do this. Do this. Do more of this, because I'm enjoying Loki. The sad thing is that Loki, this season 2 of Loki, is coming after some struggle and strife. But I'll say that, and I'm gonna let that go. I'm not going, because I think Marvel gets beat up a lot. Whenever you're the king of the hill, you're gonna get beat up a lot, and I think they get beat up enough. So I'm not gonna do anymore. I'm gonna leave them alone. I'm gonna leave that at that, because Marvel actually has some stuff that I've enjoyed. I have enjoyed this show, and I have enjoyed the new Lego Avengers Code Red, which I'll cover later on with the little guy.
So I had a chance to finally finish up season 2, episode 4 of Loki, which has been great. The show has been absolutely killing it. In fact, I think that this is going to end up being the standard for how Disney shows are, especially considering the way the news is. Um, like the same way that Guardians of the Galaxy became the standard for Disney, for Marvel movies. Well, episode 4 absolutely increases the intensity that much more. Getting a chance to, see how He Who Remains use Renslayer, and now, like, you're starting to see the quintessential issue, realization for Loki of the need to be able to handle and put a organization to the chaos, which is so ironic with Loki being, the god of chaos, basically, in essence, and just the way that it ended. Like, I'm I mean, Loki, the show Loki is definitely uh, um, a bar above the rest when it comes to their presentation, and I think a lot of that goes into the factor that this show is actually presented more like a show than it is a movie that's cut up. And I know a lot of people have talked about it, and you keep realizing it more and more whenever you see how each of the episodes end. They don't just like cut off. Like if you try to piece it as a giant movie, it wouldn't look right. But as a show that has a beginning, a middle, and an end to it, like it is doing incredible.
In catching up with this, one thing that I enjoyed was meeting Victor Timely and finding out almost immediately, like, yo, this dude's a fraud. in a in a funny way, because I mean, every variant isn't going to be some, world conquering, all knowing, power hungry zealot or something like that. It might just be a dude that's hustling to get by, using his little inventions, or maybe shoddy ideas that kind of look like they'll work to get a buck. And meeting Victor Timely and in the way that we met him, and also knowing that there must be a larger plan because he is the one that He Who Remains sent Ravonna to go give the TVA book to. It's interesting to see the kind of variant he is, and also see that there's someone who is completely enamored with the TVA and the idea that his ideas weren't crazy, and that this for him is coming full circle. Because remember, he's just a kid that somebody dropped a book in his window, and he already had kind of an inventive mind. And adding this on, he probably always felt that no one believed in him, no one thought everybody thought he was crazy, and now he's thrust into this world where it's like, whoa, hold up, this is real. Meeting OB, meeting even Ravonna and the Miss Time, Miss Minutes, it's so much in there that really shows how different a variant can be, and to the point where Sylvie meets him. Is every variant maybe a threat or worth killing, or a possible threat to the point that all of them need to be killed? Because remember, in season 1, was it maybe season 1, maybe beginning of season 2, I think season 1, she was like, if I meet another one, I'll just kill them too. I'll just kill them over and over and over, right? And we meet Victor Timely, and she says, hey, I saw he was scared to death. He was scared. Like, this wasn't some evil tyrant. This is a guy that was genuinely scared of me and scared to death or whatever. And I don't think she expected that. When you make a boogeyman up in your mind, Sylvie had been fighting against the TVA so long, she had probably decided every Kang is going to be evil. And then when she came across this Kang, she was like, oh, okay, this kind of messes with what I was expecting, and he's not evil, and maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't be killed because he hasn't really done anything. I mean, except scam some people out of some money, and I don't know if that's death worthy. I mean, maybe a beat down, but anyway, I love how they brought that into play. The look at his life and where he is mentally, and even, I guess, professionally, if you would say. I do like Ravonna and Miss Minutes in their time in their scene at the end of time, where there's still something being held back by Miss Minutes, and here's why. She shows her the memory, which I think is very unique and creative. The memory of them in the end of time in the tower, and she sees that her memory has been erased, and who knows how many times it's been erased. But then she said, you won the war for him, And she said something to the extent of like, yeah, I did all this and I did all that. And even Miss Minutes didn't fully tell the truth because she was like, yeah, to a certain extent. And I'm like, what do you mean to a certain extent? Like, even when she says, we don't need them, maybe we never did, that's cool, but you don't really get the idea that Miss Minutes is telling the truth even now when it seems that there is no one else to kind of put on for it. You know what I'm saying? There's no one else to impress. There's no one else to lie for. Because, she was lying for He Who Remains. But there's no need to lie to Ravonna anymore. I guess we think so. Because maybe there is. Maybe there's something else that Miss Minutes has in her back pocket, that she wants to maybe drop on Ravonna or maybe do for herself. Because Ravonna's like, he built this little tower and he sat on his throne and I did everything. Or I continue to do all the work to keep him here. And Miss Minutes says, well, something like that. And she kind of rolls her eyes to a certain degree. And it's like, well, what do you mean something like that? No, not something like that. What is it? We're here. It's just you and I. Why can't you say what it was? What do you mean something like that? Well, what was the something? What literally happened? You're here. You can play back these memories. Play it back. You know what I'm saying? And run back the tape. So I still don't trust Miss Minutes.
My goodness. This one was brutal. It was brutal. I love it. I love it so much. It is such a breath of fresh air for what is needed to be done. Oh my goodness. I can't even stop talking enough about it. I think the one thing that's going to be interesting is then how this is going to end up connecting with the rest of the MCU. Especially the way that this last episode ended out. Like, it's obviously there's still more to this show, so we're not done yet. But I wonder if the repercussions of it, how the repercussions of it will impact other components of the universe, and obviously all leading into Secret Wars that will come out in God knows when, 10 years from now or whatever. But it's interesting to see like just how big and how contained this one is. Bro, I there's so much. I'm still kind of processing everything that they have going on with it. But I will say that I'm loving each of the character developments. Miss Minutes is an absolute sociopath. No, I'm sorry. She's a psychopath. And I think one of the images that will haunt my dreams will be whenever she's finally rebooted. And then right before she shuts down, she goes, "You'll never be him." And it's like, bro, how is this animation AI crazy bat-ish crazy chick AI system the most terrifying component of the MCU, coming out right before Halloween, of course, which makes it even that much more terrifying.
But that Protocol 42 was very revealing on the relationship that Ravonna thought she had. You know what I'm saying? Ravonna is thinking this is my man, my man, my man, my man, my man. And it was not her man. Now, we see a softer, or maybe not softer side, but I don't know if I use the term softer. Maybe we see a more maybe forgiving side or understanding side. Maybe building in the TVA with B-15 and I can't remember the younger lady, the young lady who's in the wheelchair. She's, I guess, the head council TVA lady. Somebody just correct me in the comments. Y'all know y'all love correcting people in the comments anyway, so go ahead. Tell me the wheelchair lady name. So anyway, she's saying, you changed my mind and maybe we don't need to kill him. Maybe rehabilitation or maybe, mercy is the way. We don't need to be the same TVA we were, because the TVA we were was built on lies. So we have to do something different. And seeing B13 appeal to General Dox was something that I really thought was a turning point in not only General Dox's life, as short as it was about to become, but also in B15, and seeing maybe B15, instead of being the kind of grunt worker that she was, is the person that actually should be running TVA. She seems to be the one that cares the most about the folks that were lost in these time streams, which is crazy to the amount, imagine the countless lives that were lost. And then also General Dox, because she's like, hey, we both care about this. We're just seeing the upholding of these values, or the core, statutes or whatever, differently. And if we can say, hey, we both care about this place, at least that's somewhere to start. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times people just be like, yo, how do we fix this? Maybe we don't fix it today. Maybe we start today. You know what I'm saying? We start today, meaning we converse in good faith. We work in honesty and earnest, to get to a place that honestly reflects the protectors of time. Not people that are, kind of like what Sylvie said, we're playing God. We're not really playing God. We're almost, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Do you see it as playing God, or is it more of a, hey, we're maybe blessed or cursed with the knowledge that there are all these time streams, right? And we know that someone or someones, are going to try to mess with these time streams. So instead of kind of playing God, we're almost just kind of like protecting. It's kind of like, your kid goes outside and it's cold outside. Instead of just being like, yo, let it be what it be, you put a jacket on the kid. You're not playing God. You're just kind of like making sure that, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe regardless of how you dice it, you are playing God. But I don't see it as playing God, because in my opinion, playing God would be someone stepping into a timeline and saying, this timeline is going to be this way because I say so. And TVA, from what I see TVA trying to do or trying to be, is this timeline or time stream is like this, and we're just going to make sure that no one interferes with it, and we're going to let the people in that time stream be what they want to be or do what they want to do, just as long as they don't try to affect another one or another one tries to affect it. And maybe I'm splitting hairs, but let me know what you think on that one, because I did cue in on that conversation. I take interest in that conversation a lot. But this most recent episode also shows how, well, it ties up some things, and it shows how crazy stuff can get. Like Renslayer, who is supposed to be, she loves the TVA so much, and she's the one that should be able to run it. But look at B15's approach to General Dox and the crew, and look at Renslayer's approach. It's two very different scenes, two very different approaches. B15 came in and like, look, can we work together? Is there a way that we can figure this out? Renslayer comes, says, you're either with me or you're against me, and if you're against me, you're dead. And one thing that I thought was awesome about that scene is that they didn't show what happened to the people. I thought that was cool. Here's why. Yes, sometimes it's great to see the carnage, but sometimes it's cool to imagine what it looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes your imagination can be even worse than what they could show. And what I just imagine is, you keep squishing, and this is a family show. I'm gonna just let it go. But you know what I'm saying? You keep squishing and it's gonna pop.
Bruh, oh my goodness, I love this. This has been great writing, great acting, great storyline. I don't even know how many episodes we have for this, whether it's 6 or 8 or 10. I have no idea. I don't even want to know. I just know I am here for the ride and I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad to be able to get this week to week. But my goodness, this is wild. It has been good. Like, yeah, this is the crime. Like, WandaVision is now moved to number two, and that speaks a lot. Season two, Loki, even though it's slow burning, I think is better than WandaVision was. And WandaVision was my top show forever. So, yeah, Loki, and this season is not even done. And I'm going to have the expectation that we're not going to end with same power versus same power battle. So, I love it.
That scene showed the very stark difference between maybe running the TVA and using the TVA as a tool to dole out whatever power trip you're on. And that's why I'm glad Renslayer got, Renslayer and Miss Minutes, at least in this continuity, I guess, got dealt with. Because we see OB's like, if I reboot the system, people will be able to use magic here. They were like, reboot it. Like Loki and Sylvie were like, reboot it and give us our power, son. And then also seeing that we closed, or seemingly closed, and let me know what you think about this. We seemingly closed, I think, 2 time loops in this episode. We find out who pruned Loki. He pruned himself. Then we see that we come full circle with the idea of Victor Timely and Aurora Boros together, and the books that they have written or read to one another, which is definitely something that I hope that we circle back on and maybe see again, and maybe something future in Marvel, or if they just remark on it as maybe a story or plot point that could be used in another universe or ours later on, because I thought that was something that was really cool. I guess lastly, I'll just leave it off with this, man. Rebooting the system, getting rid of Miss Minutes, getting rid of Ravonna in this iteration of them, I think sets up this show for a very interesting and maybe refreshing finale. Because I think we have what, 2 episodes left? I can't remember. Do we have 2 or 4? I'm trying to remember. But I think we're in a place now where we can really open up to something completely new and different, because I, along with a couple of other people I've been talking about, along with online, or offline, I guess, has been, hey, this is going to end with Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes versus Loki and Obi and Mobius. And it doesn't seem that that's going to be our issue or our large, hill to climb, because I guess the big issue now is the fallout from the time loom explosion thing, and it with only 2 episodes coming, it does make you wonder what are they gonna face, or what are they gonna encounter, or will the last 2 episodes be kind of a jumping off point for the rest of phase 5, and maybe that's what they're doing. So guys, holla at me, I'm holla at you down in the comments. Let's talk Loki, man. If these last 2 episodes are good, and the Marvels, which comes out on the 14th, I think, 10th, on the 10th, I think, is good, then I believe we could be on a roll. Of course, like I said, phase 4 was like the rebuilding of a championship team. So maybe you got to go through those struggle years where you don't make the playoffs and then you finally kind of come back. So we'll see. I'm hoping for some good stuff. It seems like they have put a lot of time and effort into this show. So I'm ready. I'm definitely ready. Until next time, that you have to rush out against some time radiation and get split up into time strings. Until the next time that you have to outsmart Miss Minutes. This is from us to you saying, peace.